Everyone used to use Mthwakazi with clarity, and there was no problem during the colonial state. What does Mthwakazi mean? It means the people who were originally under the nation state that was destroyed by the colonialists in 1893, when King Lope Mula was deposed from Bulawayo by the colonial administration. The people of that part of the world never rejected the royal family that was leading them. There is no historical record of any of them rejecting the royal family, the Kumalo family that led them. So it's a colonial decision to destroy the Matabeleland state. So there was a process around creating the colonial state that included, in 1893, a deliberate decision to destroy the Kumalo dynasty. So what then happened was that the colonialists were taking away the identity of those people, these so-called people that are now known as the Mthwakazi. So outside that colonial experience in the New Zimbabwe, we should not have a debate about that identity. It is the identity. So you cannot say to someone who is from the Mthwakazi community, apologize for using the word Mthwakazi, because in context of those people who are part of the Zimbabwean post-colonial state, they are Mthwakazi. Just like someone in Chipinge can say, I'm Dao, and I'm like this, we should not ask them to apologize for who they are. So when we are debating the issue of the Matabeleland, we should also contextualize it that way, that not even one person who is from the Mthwakazi community should feel uncomfortable by identifying or self-identifying as a Mthwakazian. In that context, it allows us to go beyond that issue of judging people for who they are or for their identity, because it does not make us go forward as a country 42 years after independence to be still checking whether this person can get a job because they are from this part of Zimbabwe, whether this person can get a promotion, whether they are because they are from that part of Zimbabwe. We will never go forward, because opportunities are not given on basis of skills, experience, or merit. They are always given on the identity that someone is purported to have. So as a country, if we are going to build a new great Zimbabwe, we need to go beyond that debate. We need to accept that something happened. And as long as there are people who do not accept that something happened, we will never move forward. That's why there are political parties called Mthwakazi Republic Party. They do not exist in Harare here. There's not even an effort to set up a branch for Mthwakazi Republic Party to come to Mare there or to Highfields and say, we want to set up a branch for Mthwakazi Republic Party. Why are they not set in Epworth, in Mavuku Tafara? It's because they are informed by historical experience that occurred in the post-colonial state. Robert Mugabe is dead, but he did not leave us in peace. He left us in pieces. He messed us up. He left us as a divided people. We cannot reinforce what he left behind. We have to undo what he left behind. He divided us as a nation. So at the end of the day, you are supposed to unite us, but he divided us. So right now, we have Emerson Mnangagwa, who was the right hand of Robert Mugabe. He was also involved with that Gukuraunde thing. He is capable, from a human rights point of view, he's answerable. He was the Minister of State Security during the genocide. The fact that he's the president, he cannot have the moral strength or capacity to arrest himself, because Robert Mugabe, until he died, he refused to even apologize for the mistakes that he did in the 80s. But the fact that there are people, as I speak to you tonight, who are in Hebrew, who left Zimbabwe in 1983, running away from the Gukuraunde, and are now identifying as South African in the context of the unresolved issue in Zimbabwe, then it becomes a problem. Because these are our own people, these are our own brothers and sisters who are from Cholocho, who are from Lupane, who are from Matabeleland South, Matabeleland North, who are from Midlands, who have been excluded from the nation-building process by a historical event that is well recorded. There is enough evidence beyond any debate that there was a genocide in Matabeleland, and also that in the 1980s, Matabeleland was excluded from the post-independence reconstruction agenda because of the ongoing situation there, whether it is education, whether it is health. That's why today, if you go to Cholocho South, there are issues around identity. People are saying, let's register to vote, but there are people there who do not have birth certificates, The people do not have IDs. There are primary schools or secondary schools where there are mass graves outside classrooms. When children go and attend schools, they are told 42 people are buried there. There is Balawe, it's there in Matulen South. Everyone knows it's a mass grave. So as long as there is no attempt to resolve these issues, we will still have Mthwakazi Republic Party. We will still have this kind of approaches towards the national debate where people are saying, let's have a secession. Let's have those people from Mthwakazi saying we're tired of this Zimbabwe rubbish. So as the Ccc, especially for people like me who are from Hwange, who are from Mthwakazi North, I feel it is our duty to reach out to those elements who are saying MDC, Ccc, ZANU-PF are all the same. They promote Shona hegemony. They promote the Harare agenda. We need to engage those people. And so, BK, your space is very important because once it mentions the word Mthwakazi or Mthwakazi, it attracts those people back. And then we have given them an opportunity to say, President Advocate Nelson Chamisa is different from Emerson Mnangagwa, is different from Robert Mugabe. He is seeking to build a united people. He is seeking to accept what happened in Mthwakazi. And this time, I'm not even speaking on his behalf because if you go on YouTube and look for the speech at White City Stadium and the speech he did at Cholocho, you will see that he's very clear on that position to say Mthwakazi question is not yet resolved. It needs to be resolved. So if you go on YouTube right now and check and say what is the speech by Chamisa, you will see he's talking about it. If you go to Cholocho, you'll see he's talking about it. So we need to be responsible enough to say that the Ccc is a new party, is calling all citizens, even those who are in Hebrew, who feel they were excluded in the 1980s, who have not returned to Zimbabwe for 30 years, to say to them, we are trying to build a nation that accepts you for who you are. And we are also going to right all the wrongs that were committed by Mugabe and which ED is not capable of resolving. Then we will move forward as a country. We will not have political parties like Mthwakazi Republic Party because at the end of the day, everyone in Kai, in Lupane and Cholocho will be saying, we are rallying behind this nation building process because it includes us, unlike the previous experience we had in the 1980s. So it is in that context that as we meet tonight, we need to accept that there are issues and it is our responsibility to make sure they are fully resolved. Then Zimbabwe will move forward. I don't want to go into the deeper details about the candidates in Mthwakazi and in Bulawayo, but what I want to say is what BK has done is to create an opportunity for those who will not ordinarily come into the spaces that the Ccc would offer because they just say all these people, they're just the same. To realize the Ccc is different, is going to try to accommodate everyone who feels excluded and marginalized, whether they are in Chipinge as a Ndau, whether they are in Hwange as a Nambia, whether they are in Binga as a Tonga, any part of Zimbabwe where they feel they've been excluded. The Ccc is going to be a different party. It's going to accommodate every citizen, not give preferential treatment to a certain part of Zimbabwe, which there is overwhelming evidence that ZANU-PF has done that. So that's why we're talking about building a new Zimbabwe, a great Zimbabwe, because the Ccc policies are all-inclusive and they celebrate diversity and plurality. So it is in that context that we meet tonight. I think I've spoken too much. BK, originally I thought I was going to speak far less than I've done, but I ended up going through this harango, which I did not originally want to talk about. But I think it's important. It's important that we explain these things without even apologizing, because if Zimbabwe is going to move forward, then honesty is going to be the best policy. I remember one of my aunties saying, I see that you are one of the people who seem to have an ear for Chamisa. Please make sure it doesn't make the mistakes that Mugabe did. Please make sure that it doesn't make the same mistakes that Mugabe did. And I said to her, yes, I have known Advocate Chamisa since 1999, and I'm confident that he is not going to repeat the mistakes that Mugabe did. But if Chamisa is going to repeat those mistakes, I will be one of the people who should take the responsibility. Because we have an opportunity to make sure that we advise him, we support him, so that he builds a truly great Zimbabwe that allows everyone on merit to thrive and prosper, without telling people that you cannot occupy the space because you are Ndau, you cannot occupy the space because you are Tonga. That kind of Zimbabwe is not going to achieve any greatness. If anything, it is going to be a failed state. So we need to support Advocate Nelson Chamisa. He would have a lot of resistance. I honestly believe he's the next president of Zimbabwe. But as one of the people who may have appealed to give him advice, if ever I get an opportunity, the advice to him is that do not repeat the mistakes that Mugabe did to train a whole army, to send tanks for 6-7 years to just brutalize a community or a people. And up to today, we have mass graves all over. We have people without birth certificates, people without IDs. We have people who left the country in 1980, whatever. We have never returned to Zimbabwe. We are stranded in South Africa and Botswana and so on. We need to address those issues. And if we are not doing anything to resolve them in a very, very proper way, then this uncertainty about the national question will continue. Political parties such as Mthwakazi Republic Party will grow. And in 20-30 years' time, we will be talking about Rwanda coming to Zimbabwe. So that is something that we need to avoid. We want to be like those countries that have prospered and grown. The Singapores, the Dubais of this world, the countries that started from the back and now or from the bottom and are now at the top. We want to be a first world country, and we have the potential with the blessings that God has given us, the mineral resources, the human resource capital that we have. This diaspora brain drain, which has become a brain gain for us, we can harness them and we can become a great Zimbabwe. But we need to make sure that we do not leave everyone or some of us behind. We need to unite. So at the end of the day, that's the direction we're going. Okay, BK.
Thank you so much, Honorable Molokele. It was really helpful that you painted the picture and set the context. Really, really helpful. So we're now going to move on and take questions. Yes, BK.
Okay, just to say, we are now short of $195 to hit our goal. So please, guys, find the link. Diaspora, if you can, please pin the link on the space. I think it's still sharing the space. So please go to the link and donate. The minimum is $10. So just need 19 people, 19 to donate, and we'll have the funds available to the candidates by tomorrow. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Nat.
Thanks so much, BK. So we're just going to move on to questions for the professor. But before we do that, Ccc Diaspora, can we just do a mic check to check that the professor is still connected?
Professor is connected. He can answer for himself.
Hello,
yes,
Professor.
I'm online.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Okay, so we'll move on to questions. So we'll go in this order. So Washington first, then Tulisi, and then Big Nine Lives. I will ask if you can, before you speak, can you make it clear whether you have a question or just a comment? If it's a comment or contribution, please keep it, minimum 45 seconds. And if you have a question, no more than 2 questions. Okay, Washington first and Tulisi, Big Nine Lives. Will go in that order. Then the professor will answer 3 questions at once.
Thank you very much, Nati. BK, thank you there. Professor and Honorable, thank you so much. Mine is just a contribution. I just want to take this opportunity to thank you. There are certain things that are so important to our politics, to our citizens, that we really need to make sure everyone out there knows. And we need to make sure we really expand this so that people out there knows, because there is a lot of ignorance out there, and we need to embrace, we need to make sure all that has been lost, we try and scramble what's left and embrace it. Honorable Molokele, I also want to thank you for what you are doing, working with the fundraising, working with all the with my team, Diaspora. I also want to employ anyone who's on this tonight on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, let's donate. Let's help our MPs, our councillors. We need them back in. We know it's been difficult for us. The fundraising pays us. But together, if we come together united like this, I can tell you, it's not too late to be able to cover the spaces that we have. It's not too late. So with those few words, I really ask everyone right now who's here, who wants to see CCC doing good, that it is you, it is our project as citizens. So if we find somewhere in our hearts to say we want CCC to do better or to do good, it is us, because we've got no one to blame if this thing doesn't work. It is ourselves to blame. So thank you so much. I held my mic back. Good job, BK, and everyone else. Thank you.
Thank you, Washington. Mthwakazi, Big Nine Live. You're next.
Yeah. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak, and thank you very much, BK and MP Molokele, for the nice address. I have two issues, and whenever I keep coming back to our spaces and Alawa, and I meet gentlemen like Obabu, Professor Ncube, that makes me so proud. Ukuthi ngikhulume phambi kwabo ngibubabuze imibuzo, because an opportunity like this never comes in a lifetime. So I'll go straight to issue number one.
We can't hear anything. Mthwakazi maybe is not audible.
Am I audible?
I can hear you.
audible.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I was saying thank you very much for Baba Ncube, who is on this stage, and I'm very much honored to throw in a question to Professor Ross.
I'm sorry, but I can't hear a thing. Yeah.
You can't hear a thing.
Okay, Mthwakazi, please do me this favor. Will you please DM me a question? Then I'll ask it. Is that fine with you?
All right, it's okay. Kumbe ngibuze, uyangizwa wena ngibuze, then uzasala.
Okay, Mthwakazi yenza kanje. Come space and then come back. Come space and then come back. I'll re-add you.
Sure, no problem.
Okay, thank you. Next, who's next?
It's Big Nine Lives. But CCC Diaspora, can you hear us? Because the issue may be on your end, because we could hear Mthwakazi.
Yes, definitely we can hear you very well.
Okay, let's power on. Okay, Big Nine Lives, unmute please.
Thank you for the opportunity, host and co-host. My question is to the professor. There is an estimated 3.2 million Zimbabweans in the SADC region alone, and 75% of them are said to be in South Africa. What plans have you got at CCC to proceed to go and rally those people to come back home and register to vote, return to South Africa, and come back again 2023 to vote? Because the numbers of voters in Zimbabwe as it stands, I don't think if we are to cross over the other side can be relied on. So if, say, for argument's sake, at least 100,000 people cross the borders around election time just to vote, that can make a very big difference towards our election. Do you have any plans to engage with the Zimbabweans in diaspora in SADC, especially in South Africa, Zambia, and Malawi and Mozambique, so that they can come home, register to vote for a day, return to their workplaces or homes as they are now calling them, and then come back again to actually vote? What plans are there in place for that? Thank you.
All right. You will just take one more question. Mthwakazi, can we try you again? Please unmute and try again.
Yeah, I hope now ngiyazwakala.
CCC Diaspora, can you hear Mthwakazi?
Yeah, we were always hearing Mthwakazi.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll go straight to my comment. The first question being the one that I sort of asked Izolo. I will repeat this one to Professor Ncube. I would like to understand legal framework of actually, making sure that a constitution that we actually voted for is really working and implemented properly. What are the hitches as a corner that are preventing us from working towards that kind of a dispensation, especially when it comes to the devolution of power? Why is it that there is total failure to actually have anything done on the ground? I'm talking from side Yangagiti, Ematepelen, because it is why we are behind partisans in MDC since 2000, because we are well aware that there are people that we have elected which must represent. My disappointment is that you guys, you are not effective going forward, Konangal. And it's been 22 years now, and I am really worried and frustrated. Why should we continue putting weight behind you when there are a lot of things that you haven't raised a finger in our defense for? Point in case into a devolution of power, which we seriously want, so that region will be at par with the rest of the country. I am not talking about other regions because I'm talking for myself. I am talking for myself as a citizen. And I know the pains that I'm talking about. So,
Tulisi, I think the question that you just asked, because there are a lot of people who are lining up. So I'll keep you on the speaker panel, right? And then I'll take you back once we've gone through all the other speakers. So let the professor answer 2 questions that he has gotten, and then I'll bring you back.
No problem.
After the other speakers have spoken. Thank you. Professor, go ahead.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to respond quickly to the questions which have been asked. Let me start with the question around the plans, strategy for the Zimbabweans who are resident in South Africa as to what plans and what strategies we have to get them to come and vote and then go back to South Africa. Let me say structurally, we have a department of diaspora affairs headed by Clifford Sajwayo in the interim structure of Ccc. Part of his terms of reference is to work around that question, because when we just started as a party, he has a responsibility to develop a framework for doing what you have asked. Once the structures, the organs are in place, they will process whatever is going to come from that department. We have our ideas from the old party. We don't know which ones of them will find their way into the formal decisions of the new party. We also have a department of international affairs, which is headed by Geddes, which does more the diplomatic work. It also has an input in that conversation. But additionally, in the third instance, we have the South African structure, which has one of its terms of reference being to recruit in South Africa, to fundraise in South Africa, to promote the notion of those Zimbabweans who are able to return to the country, to return, register to vote, and ultimately vote. But the long and short of all of these three organs, state departments, is that they have overlapping mandate over the question that you raised. But because we are a new party, we are starting everything afresh. When we say new colors, new slogans, new leadership to emerge, and so forth and so on, it also means new policies, new direction, new trust, and so forth and so on. So we do not want now to try and overact what plans and strategies the MTC Alliance had to the new party. Let's see how this evolves. And let me also say that yourselves, as Zimbabweans in the diaspora, have a role to play in this. You also need to come together to discuss the policy aspects of this, the practical aspects of how we can achieve what we have asked. Then the question about the legal framework to ensure the full implementation of the Constitution. Let me just try and be blunt on this one. As long as you do not have constitutionalism in the country, those of you who are students of political science, political history, constitutional law will be familiar with the concept of constitutions without constitutionalism. The short of this is that you can have a beautiful constitution written there, beautiful constitution, which has no relationship with what happens in practice. The gap between the theory, the gap between the text of the constitution and the lived reality, the political reality in the country is so huge, as far apart as North and South poles are. And this is a constitution which has no relationship with what happens in practice. The state or state organs occasionally, routinely opt out of the you have a law which says that the police ought to be informed of a political gathering. And the law is very clear. All you need is to inform the police. But the police insist that under this law, they
can you guys still hear?
Effectively, this means that the law is just there on paper. So what is the what?
Yeah, it's breaking.
Done out. As long as you cannot vaccinate against it, as long as you have a political power that does not believe in constitutionalism, that does not believe in limitation of power. In this instance, a political party which does not believe in devolution. So you have all the devolution clauses.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah, I think I probably maybe try to call him back.
We have people who are not assume office at all. So I'm saying that you have a whole devolution structure in the constitution, including people who were elected, declared duly elected, who have not assumed office. And they're not going to assume office because ZANU-PF as a political entity does not believe in any of those provisions. So it's very difficult. So what you need to do is to ensure it place we put in power